one of them you are going to remember and the other is forgotten before the next sentence even lands, because the human brain actually doesn't care about abstractions. It doesn't store them. In fact, the human brain stores images, stories, specific moments. In fact, one of my executives constantly does this. He really likes to talk in theories. This is a huge mistake you make in communication if you're smart. Smart people like to use big words and abstractions. They think that it makes them sound smart. What it actually does is make you bored. And that is why a bunch of PhDs often have a really hard time getting people's attention, even though they're probably the person you should be listening to on most subjects. But how you'll know you talk in abstractions is when somebody goes something like, theoretically, when we're talking about this from an enlarged perspective, what we really need to ponder inside of our heads is the ability for the outcome to have a different effect. You're like, what the fuck, Todd? What are we talking about? Instead, I want you to speak in those specific moments, because when you speak in abstractions, like we need better communication even, the culture is the problem, it's a trust issue, the brain really has no idea what you're talking about. So you got to descend the ladder is what we call it, and name the specifics. So cite the particular moment. The concrete detail is what is important, not all this abstract decoration. So for instance, we need to have better communication. That's a terrible sentence. What does that mean? Who defines better? Who defines communication? I have no idea what you're talking about. What would be better instead? We need to have a 5-minute download at the end of every day about what happened, and then figure out our plan for the next day. Okay, concrete. We can do that. I'd like you to be nicer to me. Okay, what is nice? How do we define nice? Instead, it'd be better if you said, you know what? I love it when you give me compliments. And when you're upset at me, I really love it when you talk in a very calm tone with me and you give me specific feedback, but you don't raise your voice. That makes me feel like you're being nice to me. Do you see how much more useful that is? I think this is also a big flaw, sorry, ladies, in our female communication. A lot of times we'll be like, be nice. I just want you to be kind. And men are like, I don't have the same definition for the word as you, because we might say, hey, I really want you to express all of your feelings and tell me everything, and we could talk about it in detail. And the guy's like, please, God, don't do that. That is not kind. So be concrete and do not talk in abstraction. Driver 4, the false finish. This is where you signal the conversation is winding down. You do it through your tone, through the words like, anyway. So basically, the bottom line is, but then you keep talking